hello there. So, I thought I'd have a change of venue. This is my game room. I got a Sega Genesis, N64, GameCube, Super Famicom, Famicom AV, PC Engine, my Panasonic TV, my little Sony Trench Rod up there, and JVCD series. But that's not why I'm here. I got another package from Sendico. Cut the top off, but I haven't actually gone inside. And I thought I would share another box of Sendico unwrapping goodness. So, I know what these are because I ordered them. I thought I would share the Sendico goodness with you. Mostly Famicom. Alright, first is Hoshi no Kirby, Kirby's Dream Land. One of the classic Nintendo games. I do not have scissors, so I will return promptly. Some people would edit that out, but no, not me. I want to do it live. Alright. So, Kirby's Dream Land, originally for Game Boy, and the Famicom, sort of a follow-up. Lovely pink cartridge. And on the back, someone put the sticker that probably came with it. So, Kirby's Dream Land, or also known as Kirby no Hoshi, Kirby's Star, for Nintendo Famicom. Next, another pink cartridge. Super Mario USA. This is the modified version of Doki Doki Panic, brought to the US as Super Mario Bros. 2. The real Super Mario Bros. 2 was only released on Famicom. And, in proper Japanese kid tradition, I believe that is, the gentleman the previous owner wrote his name on it, and I believe that is Tanaka. My understanding of kanji is correct. Alright. A purple Famicom game. In Japan, the light gun was not as popular as it was in America, and the Famicom games that used the light gun and released by Nintendo were released on a purple cartridge. This is Duck Hunt for the Famicom. 1984, the most quintessential gun games. Another Famicom game. I was looking for this one. Closer. All right. Splatterhouse Wampako Graffiti for Famicom. This was the follow-up / port of Splatterhouse, which was originally for the Japanese arcade, and then there was the PC Engine version later, and so rather than doing a 16-bit conversion, they did sort of a cute 'em up, super deformed version. This one has a little bit of the sticker broken off, but the previous owner covered it with the stickers that came with it, and you know, if it's a little scruffy and done by the original Japanese owners, I think it's cool. This is one of the best Famicom games that never came to the US. Officially. Ooh. Niketsu High School also known as River City Ransom in the US. One of the essential Famicom beat 'em ups. Absolutely love this game, and I've always wanted it on the original hardware, so now I have it on the original hardware. Yellow Famicom cartridge, always a sign of original goodness. This is Yurusei Yatsura Lum's Wedding Bell. So this was based on the anime Yurusei Yatsura, which I also enjoy. I'm glad that the new series is out, and I was inspired by that to get the original Famicom cartridge. This one, they actually put a screenshot on the back of it. But not the most in-depth game, but I love the anime, and I love yellow Famicom cartridges, so I had to get it. Ooh, another purple Famicom cartridge. Purple Famicom cartridge. So Sendico, you buy things on Japanese auctions or flat out, and then they combine it into ship them locally, and then you get it shipped here in one giant one. This is Wild Gunman for Famicom. Again, it's purple because it's a light gun only game, and one of the original Famicom, probably I think the first light gun game made by Nintendo. So right up there with Duck Hunt, and I already have Hogan's Alley. Okay, not wrapped, but Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. This was an early Famicom shooter made by Namco. Not the most in-depth one, really early, but I love the anime, so I had to get it because I love the anime. By the way, Robotech sucks. I hate Robotech. It's like just a dagger to my ear. I really wish Super Dimensional Fortress Macross was released on anything in the US. In the original Japanese. He's not Rick Hunter, he's Kaoru Chijo. Ooh. 4-pack of colorful goodness. By the way, this was like, it took me like 2 or 3 months to buy all this stuff. Probably about 2 months. I mean, Sendico is cheap, the choice is amazing, but it does take a lot of time. Okay, Mahjong, the Pulse line. So one of the first Famicom games, not that into Mahjong, but it was included in the bundle that I wanted to get. Mini Putt, a miniature golf game. I actually tried the ROM of this, and it was actually pretty fun. So I am glad that I have Mini Putt by A-Wave. Mario Open Golf, also known as NES Open, but this is the one that has Crying Luigi on it. So if you want to see Mario just stick it in the face of Luigi, first in birth order and first in disappointment, Luigi. Actually, second in birth order, but first in disappointment. I think I already have a copy of this, but so I may sell this one. But Mario Open Golf. And what I actually bought this set for, are you ready for this? It's by Capcom, Mighty Final Fight. This is, again, crazy expensive in America, but not that expensive in Japan. So Mighty Final Fight, again, very similar in nature to Wanpaku Graffiti. Based on a 16-bit arcade game, but for a Famicom, they realized they couldn't do a 1-to-1 conversion, so they went with a super deformed action version that is really cute. But I really like this. I like when they make a interpretation rather than trying to do a crappy version of trying to do a 1-to-1 of a game that was originally for superior hardware. moving on. Ooh, saving that for later. And that for later. Ah, a bit of hardware. So, my OG Famicom has notoriously short cords. And and the cords were hardwired in. Oh, look at that long cord. This is a Hudson Joy-Con controller with turbo sliders right there. The Hudson B, Famicom red and gold. Nice thing, but it has the external connector that you connect to the front of the Famicom or the side of the AV Famicom, and it is long. So I greatly will enjoy using this to play my OG Famicom, but not having to stretch it out and put it on my bed and next to me, and then even then still worry because the cords were crazy short. So this is what they did in Japan. You know, what do you do when the controllers are hardwired in and they're too short? You had a third-party controller. This was very popular, and can't find these in American stores because they'll have Famicom games, but they only need something like this if you're playing on a Japanese Famicom hardware. Very excited to have it. And another controller goodness. Anyone know what this is? So, kids that didn't live through the 90s have no idea how crazy influential Street Fighter II was. So, this is a HE Systems Avenue 6 gamepad for the PC Engine. Does not work on, so it's got the PC Engine style connector, which is smaller than the TurboGrafx 16. But it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 control buttons in the Capcom layout. The 1 and 2 are right there horizontal, just like the PC Engine gamepad. Oh, it feels good. A controller that is just made for doing playing Street Fighter. And so now I can play the Street Fighter 2 port, and I think there's also some Neo Geo ports on Super CD that I have on my I don't have the actual thing, but I have a loader made by Terra Onion. But so now I can play the apparently pretty darn good Street Fighter 2 port, which was the biggest Hue card game ever made, the way God intended, with 6 buttons. Actually, let me see if this controller is longer. Again. Plastic. Yeah. It's got a decent long cord, about a meter. So I will enjoy. This is probably going to be my main PC Engine gamepad. Boy, this was probably kinked for a very long time, so I hope this stretches out. But so a Joy-Con. Joy-Card controller by Hudson Soft for OG Famicom, and the Avenue 6 gamepad by HE Systems for the PC Engine. Not the only controllers that I have in here. I have these. So, Konami had a port of Hyper Olympics, their arcade game, and Hyper Sports to the Famicom, which the Famicom system has controllers with built-in buttons. And so they, Konami in the 80s was just adventurous and weird and really sort of egotistical, and so they released a port of Hyper Olympics and Hyper Sports for the Famicom right here of their arcade game. This was brought to the US as the two games were combined for called Track and Field. But for a time in the early 80s, button mashing based games were super popular. So they released a double set of controllers that had big arcade-style buttons. Big arcade-style buttons that you are supposed to press as fast as you can. So they thought that the original Famicom buttons, just didn't quite get the button mashing experience, so you can play Hyper Sports and Hyper Olympics the way that 1980s Konami intended. So glad to get that. And again, Hyper Olympics. I love collecting 80s Konami games. Another 4-pack. By the way, that's an excellent, not intentional, but excellent segue into this. First is Gradius, the quintessential Konami shooter for Famicom. I used to have a copy of this, but it was very, very, very temperamental and hard to get going. So I also really love this game, and it was frustrating because it took about half an hour of fiddling with the cartridge to finally get it to work, so I bought another copy of Gradius. Some of the best music also. Then you think, oh, its sequel was Life Force. So in Japan, it is known as Salamander. And Salamander, also known as Life Force in the US, came on this cool, awesome, transparent cartridge. So look at that. Transparent. See the board on the inside. Konami in the 80s. Insane. And the legit sequel to Life Force, Gradius 2, not brought to the US officially. So I'm glad to have the Super Famicom, or the Famicom port of Gradius 2. Yeah, in the US they were like, okay, Gradius 1 is Gradius, and then Gradius 2 was Life Force, which is in a similar genre, but not actually the same. Gradius 2 was the actual sequel, and then Gradius 3. And because it was included in this, it was a 4-pack, Parodius. I previously had a copy of this. I love, again, it's a 16-bit arcade game that received an 8-bit Famicom port, but I love Parodius, and I wanted to get these other ones, so I got an additional copy of Parodius. All right. 4 ones to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. First, in order, a blue cartridge by Capcom. Rockman, also known as Mega Man in the US, but the essential platform shoot 'em up, awesome Rockman game. This is the game that started it all, an actual legit copy because it's seen some wear and tear, but Rockman for Famicom. Oh, what's this? It's a 4-pack. I wonder what it is. I'm being facetious because I know what it is because I ordered it. Japanese cards are just so colorful and awesome. Rockman 2. The follow-up, this is when they had added the password, but Rockman 2, known as Mega Man 2 in the US. Not to be then followed up with Rockman 3. Again, green cartridge this time. And they added, I think, Rush the dog, which is why he's on there. Then, after that, what to follow up? Rockman 4. Orange cartridge for Famicom. Then, Rockman 5. Sticking with their creative naming convention. Some of the absolute best 2D action games. And then Rockman 6, the final one for Famicom. These are crazy expensive to get the US versions, but the Japanese versions, very affordable. And finally, I think this one cost me close to $80 because it's actually rare for the Famicom one, but the piece de resistance, one that I've always wanted to have a legit copy of, Bucky O'Hare for Famicom. The American version is crazy expensive. This is a Mega Man style action game made by Konami based on a license which was not popular at all in the US and completely unknown in Japan, but this rare cartridge is probably what most Japanese nerds know about Bucky O'Hare. And my cat is walking in. There he is. So this was a awesome collection of loot from Sendico. So Bucky O'Hare for Famicom, Rockman 6, Rockman 5, Rockman 4, Rockman 3, Rockman 2, and Rockman itself. Konami Hyper Olympics, the Hypershot controllers for Famicom. I'm going to have a lot of crazy, stupid fun with that. Gradius 2, Gradius, Parodius, Salamander, Mini Putt, Mahjong, Yurusei Yatsura, Lum's Wedding Bell, and Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. Kirby no Hoshi, Kirby's Adventure, Super Mario USA, Mario Open Golf, Duck Hunt, and Wild Gunman. River City Ransom, Mighty Final Fight, and Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti, 6-button PC Engine gamepad, and Hudson Joy-Con card with a long cord for Famicom. So, hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be cleaning these and then playing these for a long time to come.